Harbaugh is finalizing a deal to become the next coach of the New York Football Giants. This comes less than 10 days after he was fired by the Ravens, where he spent 18 seasons. New York moved on from their previous head coach, Brian Daboll, in November. As we welcome in NFL reporter Jeff Darlington and NFL analyst Jason McCourty. Jeff, I'm going to start with you. If this deal goes down, what sold Harbaugh on choosing the Giants over all of the other jobs that are available?
I would say in general, simply the structure and organization that exists with the New York Giants. And the thing about Harbaugh's process here was that he was going to be thorough, he was going to be patient, and for the most part, he was. But we also know that he canceled that Titans interview that was going to take place in Baltimore today with a reason. And that's because once he finally did get that in-person moment with the Giants, he felt like it was right. He spoke with Joe Schoen, the general manager, who obviously going into it without a full familiarity had to feel comfortable with that. And he is comfortable with that. So there were components in play that were going to make him be patient. But ultimately, the instinct was always the Giants. And the second he had that reality, he stuck with it, and that's why we're at where we are now.
Yeah, and that makes sense because it's the first in-person interview that he did. How do you feel about his fit in New York?
I like it, and I think when you look at the Giants and what's transpired over the last several years there, they've had so many different coaches. John Harbaugh is a CEO who had 18 years of finding a way to succeed in Baltimore. I think this says a lot about the Giants organization and also about Jackson Dart. He had to look at the young quarterback and believe that he's somebody that can take them to the Super Bowl if it is correctly built around him. Also, the guys that surround this team, the Cam Scatterboo, the Malik Neighbors, all of those guys, he has pieces.
At hire, because I don't believe it's a bad hire. I believe that John Harbaugh can coach. I believe that when you've coached 18 years in the National Football League, there's a level of respect and deference that you have earned, that you have achieved, that you have accomplished on your own. And I understand that. I just think we need to take into account that this is the New York Giants that we're talking about. And we also need to take into account John Harbaugh and how things ended in Baltimore after 18 seasons, a place where he won 61% of his games, had a 180 and 113 record. He won a Super Bowl in 2012. Okay, we know all of this. We also know he's coming to a Giants team that's 7-27 over the last 2 seasons. Okay, we get that part as well. A Giants team that's won since 2012, since John Harbaugh won the Super Bowl in 2012, that season. The New York Giants have won 36.5% of their games. Only 3 teams in the National Football League have been worse. They've had 3 winning seasons since 2012. They've had 0 division titles. They've had 2 playoff appearances. They've won 1 postseason games. And obviously, they've had 0 conference title game appearances. These are the facts since they've won the Super Bowl in 2012. So I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, you get somebody like Harbaugh who knows who's hired a few damn good coaches during his tenure. Most standout right now is McDonald in Seattle, who was his defensive coordinator, who's doing a hell of a job with the Seahawks. We get that part. My issue with John Harbaugh and all that's being said is that are we just going to ignore how things ended in Baltimore and the kind of things that are being said in Baltimore? Are we just going to ignore that? We're just going to act like that stuff didn't happen? We're just going to act like, players didn't grow tired of them? Openly confess that you can say John Harbaugh did win a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. He didn't win one with Lamar Jackson. Maybe a mercurial quarterback who's incredibly gifted and is clearly a top 5 player in the entire NFL consistently when he is healthy is also some guy with such electrifying ability as a runner that you can't get him to be as composed or as receptive to a game plan as you would like. And in Jackson Dart, that might be something a little bit easier to pull off because he doesn't have an extreme level of athleticism and mercurial ability, the likes of Lamar Jackson, to lean on. So he's going to have to lean on a coach a little bit more than somebody like Lamar Jackson would have to lean on. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that kind of thing would bode well for the New York Giants, not to mention structure. the kind of people that are hired, the kind of people that are brought in, the kind of people that you're running and evolving your organization around. Again, I'm not here to throw any shade on John Harbaugh, just like I wasn't here to throw any shade on my man Mike Tomlin, who I love and respect. But we're gonna do a sports show. We got to keep it a buck. We got to be one. You got to keep it 100. Well, what's going on? John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin are two different situations, and I'll get into Mike Tomlin and the Steelers in a second. But right now, let me say this about John Harbaugh. Mike Tomlin walked into the office of Art Rooney II.
$100 million. I don't know if he got the $10 million for his staff support. I don't know if he has total control of his roster. But 10 years $100 million is a lot of money. I think only Andy Reid is $20 million per year. 8 years ago, John Gruden signed a 10-year, $100 million contract with the Las Vegas Raiders, which raised eyebrows. According to Connor Hughes of SNN, in the days before telling the Giants he was going to take their head coaching job, John Harbaugh sought out and contacted positional coaches from Brian Daboll's staff to pick their brains on the state of the roster. Several of the coaches had never spoken to Harbaugh before, and they told SNY they talked for about 30 minutes about the ins and outs of the team. When Harbaugh was fired, well, whatever the case may be, Steve Bisciotti, when he was fired, relieved of his duties, I felt someone of his stature was looking for a team that had a quarterback. That is the quickest way. Look at Chicago.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson took that job. What did they have in place? A quarterback. The New England Patriots, when Mike Vrabel took that job, what did they have in place? The quickest way to get to the playoffs, to get on the winning track, is to have a quarterback. They believe they have their quarterback. John Harbaugh, more importantly, believes they have their quarterback. That is why he took this job so quickly. Joe, what do you think? You like the hire?
I like the hire, but I'm wondering with Harbaugh, do you think that was the best quarterback situation? You think that's the real reason why he took that job? I mean,
yes.
Obviously they paid him what he wanted, but I mean,
honestly, I think he could have got that from anywhere.
But if he could have got that anywhere, it's a lot of enticing jobs out here, man, with a lot of talent versus, he got Scatterboo and the receiver. Them dudes coming off extremely, unfortunate injuries. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
So I'm wondering from a talent perspective, do you think that was the best team that he probably could have went to?
Okay, here are the teams. Arizona, they don't have a quarterback. They're going to move on from Kyler Murray. They have Jacoby Brissett. The question is the Tennessee Titans. They have Cam Ward, but it seems to me, he believed that situation with that roster. You look at the defense, Brian Burns. You look at Dexter Lawrence. You look at Abdul Carter, who they took very high. They had Wan'Dale Robinson that came off a great season. I get what you're saying about Malik Neighbors, but he should be up to speed because that injury happened so early in the season. He should have a full recovery. Scatterboo, we don't know about that. We'll see how that thing, it seems like it's progressing. Now, they do need some offensive line because the problem is he took before Jackson Dart got in there, he was taking a lot. Russ was the quarterback. Got sacked a lot. Now, you're going to have to protect Dart, and Dart's going to have to protect himself from taking unnecessary hits. You're not a running back. You're not Derrick Henry. So you need to get that thought out your head. You need to be smart. Don't be afraid to run out of bounds. Don't be afraid to get on the turf. Sometimes you have to know when the journey is over. But if you look at the Jets, you like the Jets? They don't have a quarterback.
No.
And that franchise is in disarray, is dysfunctional. The Giants has been dysfunctional for a period of time. But all things being equal, I trust the Giants in that situation, and I don't know what, maybe it's just, I'm hoping the Giants situation more than I trust the Jets. Okay, the Falcons. I think the Falcons have more of the talent, but they still have undecided issues at the quarterback position. So you look at the teams that have openings. I think the Giants have the best quarterback situation. Do they have more talent than Atlanta? I don't believe they do. But they have a quarterback, and it doesn't matter how much talent you got. You better have a quarterback that can pull the trigger.
Right. Okay. I understand that part. I just feel like it's a lot of other teams, especially when you look from the defensive side. I know you got to have a quarterback. You got to have guys at skill positions. You got to put points on the board. well, if you can't stop nobody, man, you're gonna be in trouble. I don't know how great the Giants defense was. So, that's probably what more I'm looking toward. I'm like, okay, what is their defense like?
Well, if you could predict the best way if your defense is subpar is to keep them off the field. If you got a quarterback that's turning the ball over, if you can't run the football, that is the quickest way to put your defense back on the field.
Right.
Now, you could be just porous and not scheme schematically or don't have the pieces in place a la the Cowboys. Cowboys' offense is sensational.
What you trying to say?
The Cowboys' offense is sensational. It's your defense, whether it's schematically. Now, look, you've had a history of this, Joe. For the last decade, you've gone through a ton of different defensive coordinators, and with the same results. Your offense is in the top 5, your defense is in the bottom 5. That's not a good recipe. But I'm looking at just the coach. Just now, if Green Bay was available, I would tell him to take his ass to Green Bay.
Right.
Because they're going to get Michael back at some point. Now, I don't know if he's going to start week 1, but there's a chance he's going to play at least, let's just say for the sake of argument, somewhere between 11 and 12 games if he stays healthy. They might start him on the PUP list, and then he'll have to miss the first 4 games. But you look at them defensively, you look at the offensively, their quarterback, they got Jordan Love, they got receivers, they got a running game, they got a nice offensive line. But of the positions that were available, Miami, you like Miami? Their defense isn't that good. They don't have no quarterback. They're going to move on from Tua. It seems like I like Ed. I love him. He's sensational. But they need offensive line help. They got Waddle, so we'll see. I like Darren Waller at tight end. He's shown me enough that he still has juice in the orange, and he should come back. Right. But I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of teams that have available coaching positions. The Giants have the best quarterback situation based on what I saw this year. Now, that could change. Cam Ward could come back and have a stellar sophomore season. He got hurt.
Yeah.
And we don't know. I don't think it's bad. Maybe if they had 5 or 6 more games, maybe he missed a game and he comes back. But of the coaching vacancies that are available, I like the Giants. I like the Falcons overall, but I like the Giants quarterback. And like I said, I think I laid out pretty good, chat. If you look at the team, look at where the Patriots were last year.
Well, look
Change coaching. Now they're in the divisional round of the playoff. Yeah. Look at the Bears.
Yeah.
In the divisional round of the playoff. Both teams playing at home. Now, they did go out. They signed the Patriots signed Stephon Diggs in free agency. They got Big Milton Williams. They brought some guys in, and so you like, okay, and you can do some things. I think the Giants are going to do that. Now, I don't know where they are cap-wise, but they definitely need some offensive line help to make sure they can protect Jackson Dart. But I like this hire. It's a proven commodity. Ain't no guesswork. What I wonder if he can do. He's never been a head coach. The man was just a head coach for the last 18 years.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think he's a proven commodity.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great hire for the Giants. Obviously, you want to be able to keep Jackson Dart on the field. Hopefully, he starts to be a lot smarter going in year 2. But I mean, they got to put they got to get a defense on that can help the offense. Obviously, like you say, you want the offense to stay on the field so the defense don't have to work as hard. But for the most part, it looked like Harbaugh wanted more control than anything.
Yeah, I look. When you've been in that position, Joe, and you've had some control, it's hard for you to go to another situation and have no control. Right. Especially after you've been at the job for an extended period of time. He's been on the task for 18 years. And to go, and most coaches, that's the hardest thing. I mean, when you look at Coach Belichick, and Coach Belichick has had total control. For me, it's going to be hard for me to see him going somewhere where he has little to no control.
Right, absolutely.
And so I think that's the thing. And look, the reports are Mike Tomlin's not looking to coach, but I like Mike Tomlin in Atlanta.
Oh, man.
I like Mike Tomlin in Atlanta. Offensive line, you get, plug a few pieces in defensively, but they don't have what Atlanta has.
No, sir.
You look at Bijan Robinson, you look at Drake London, you look at Kyle Pitts, you're going to have to sign him back.
Yep, you got to bring him back.
They have pieces. And defensively, oh, my goodness.
Man. That defensive line they got is a monster, man.
Yes, and but at the end of the day, Joe, look at, and we're going to talk about this. Look at every quarterback that's in the playoffs, only one was drafted outside of the first round. You got number 1 overall pick Matt Stafford, number 1 overall pick Caleb Williams. You see, number 3 pick, and number 2 pick in C.J. Stroud, number 3 pick in Drake May.
Yeah.
Number 3 pick in Sam Darnold.
You got to have a bad boy back there.
Bo Nix, Josh Allen, all those number 1 picks. Only one quarterback was outside. If you don't have that, I don't give a damn what your defense look like.
Right.
Because sometimes your defense is going to have to overcome bad play.
Yeah.
They will. Now, C.J. Stroud can't play Sunday like he played Monday. They're going home.
For sure.
Because he's going to put his defense in harm's way. They're not going to have to drive the football very far. And they have more weapons, and they're able to run the football, and they're able to protect better than what the Steelers were able to do. So he can't have the type of game that he had. But without a quarterback, in today's game, the way they have it structured, the way they set it up, you can't win without a quarterback. And so I like this. I like this hire for the Giants.
Hey, but I like it too. Well, with these coaches, with these vacancies, and let's say you're a head coach going into a situation, don't you kind of have some say-so? Like if you go into a situation like Atlanta, you know you need a quarterback, and they ask you to be the head coach. Don't you kind of got some say-so, some guys who you think you may want to bring in?
If you're Mike Tomlin, yes. If you're John Harbaugh, yes. But sometimes you're a first-year coach. You don't have a whole lot to say. John Harbaugh had to build up to get that. Mike Tomlin had to build up to get that. Coach Belichick had a lot of control, but he built up and got even more. Andy Reid got some control, but he built up and got more as they started winning. You coming in and you haven't been a head coach before, or you haven't won. You want to do? You say what? There's only 32 of those positions available.
Right.
And so you're happy to have one of them. Now, if you win, you'll get more. Just like Ben Johnson, I believe he'll get more say. Mike Vrabel's going to have more say. But Mike was a head coach. He took a team to a championship. He's coached in big games before. And so with this situation, you turn that around. You go from 4-13 to what? 13-4? Ben Johnson, Chicago, you know what they were over the last several years.
Yeah.
But now that you got that quarterback position solidified, they're going to have a little bit more say. Now, mind you, those quarterbacks were already on staff.